Press the bell icon on YouTube and don't miss another update.
I'm with Jagdish Khattar, the man who revolutionized the car industry. He was managing director of Maruti Udyog from 1999 for at least a decade. Mr. Khattar, welcome to ThePrint. But first of all, tell me, you have a brand new idea to revolutionize the bicycle. But first of all, before you tell me how does a car man become a bicycle man?
You know, we were in the IAS.
Okay.
So I have worked in steel industry, tea industry, cement industry and all. So whatever assignment we take, we do as best.
And then you went to the car industry.
So I went to the car industry. I had a job to do. So one tried to do one's best in that car industry.
Okay.
Now as far as the cycle is concerned, let me put it this way, that only a few months back, I came across a data that few points which really went home as far as I'm concerned is that 320 million persons walk every day to their place of work for 6 to 10 kilometers.
No, so what is it that you want to do?
That's the point I'm making, that cycle industry has been neglected by our country.
All right. At the risk of what?
No, we have emphasized more on cars, automobiles, two-wheelers. You read in the papers, if the car and the motorcycle sales are good, the GDP is doing well. No one talks about bicycles.
But you're a car man. Aren't you happy about that?
I was there, I did it, and they are doing it. But the point is, when I came across this data, I felt that somehow, I have been a bureaucrat also. So I have been this, that why have we forgotten about this? And the data which really persuaded me to take up this bicycle, penetration of bicycle in rural areas. You know, usually people say, whenever I talk, and I talk to some of your leading journalists also, the moment I talk to them about cycles, but Mr. Khattar, there are no cycle tracks in the urban areas, there are accidents ho jate hain, ye ho jate hain. So everyone is oriented towards bicycle in the context of urban area.
Where there's no pollution, or it will reduce pollution.
Pollution, all that, but they can't do it. And some people who are doing it is doing it out of performance on Sundays, going for a bike ride and all that. But rural area, 320 million persons walk 6 to 10 kilometers a day to their place of work. In 20 years, car industry and motorcycle industry have grown CAGR annual 10 to 11%. Bicycle industry in 20 years has grown only by 1%.
But why should you care, Mr. Khattar? What is it about? Why do you...
When I read about the newspapers, distress in rural areas, problems that they are having, you read about girls going to school. I remember Mr. Nitish Kumar gave bicycles to girls. Right. What a revolution it was made. It was a revolution. Then I connected that we are not giving bicycles here. And then I came across a report from World Bank which says, you give a bicycle to a rural family, his income goes up by 30% within a week. And guess why? If I produce vegetables, I have no mobility, I'll go and sell it in the village. But if I have a bicycle, I will go to a hut or where there's a bazaar. I'll get better realization.
So the bicycle will obviously improve mobility, but I'm asking you a personal question. You were synonymous with the car industry. Are you saying that now I become a champion of bicycles? Why is that going against me? I can't understand. Because they're contradictory.
No, I am trying. Listen, this is a national issue. After all, we are citizens of the country. We are talking about health. When I read the Terry report which the bicycle industry had prepared, revealing that if a person is unwell in the house, in a village, they do nothing, give him chai, vai or whatever local herbs are there. They take him to a hospital only when the condition is serious.
Right.
If you have a bicycle, first instant you will go to a primary health center and prevent further this thing. Look at the saving that family will have. Loss of hours, days when he is unwell. You read this report.
So why is it that you think that 70 years after independence, or even if you say for the last 25 years since the economic reform, that we have ignored this aspect of transforming rural India?
That's the question I'm asking myself when I went to Niti
Ayog.
When I mentioned this, Immediately they set up a working group with me as the chairman to see that what has gone wrong and what needs to be done. And our report is...
So did you think about this when you were with Maruti?
No, I never knew about it. I said I got this details only in the month of April, May.
So just a few months ago?
Yeah. And since then, I think you have had write-ups in the newspapers.
So is it a new mission of yours?
In a way it is. I mean, why should you call it? I mean, listen, all of us are citizens of the country. If something is not taking place, shouldn't we bring it to the authorities' notice?
So have you brought it to the notice of the political establishment, the Prime Minister?
No, our report would be there. And they're going to follow it up. And I must say that all ministries are a part of that group. And they were also surprised by this data. And they all feel something needs to be done.
So what are you saying? How is it going to transform rural India in terms of GDP, for example?
Yes, the Terry report says,
yes,
provide bicycles in the rural area, the GDP will grow by 1.5%. Can you believe?
Just by providing bicycles?
Because the earning capacity increases, their cost of medical comes down, girls' empowerment takes place, their attendance in school improves, they go to higher studies. All that is, I mean, when we are talking about our demography and we are not looking after these people, and a small bicycle can make all the difference. You must ask me, why is it that bicycle is not penetrated, sold?
Right. Exactly.
Because no one gives them loan.
No one gives them loan to buy a bicycle. But I'm sure it's not very expensive, isn't it?
No, this is exactly the urban area you're talking about. If a bicycle costs 4,000 rupees and the person who has to buy earns 100 rupees a day, 3,000 a month, will he run the family in that money or will he save for the bicycle 4,000? You know, people take their lifetime savings to buy a bicycle. And when we went to the banks, they said, Mr. Khattar, the ticket size is too small. Our cost of operation is the same whether it is 4,000 ticket or a car ticket.
But isn't it a vicious circle? Is that if the cost of the bicycle is so expensive, then
it's not expensive. Anyway, yeah.
Comparative to the earning capacity of the person, then should the government give a subsidy or should there be a credit or a loan or what?
That's exactly what we are going into. That the government through the microfinance companies should support. You know, there's a study by Asha. Have you heard about Asha girl, ladies?
Yes, of course.
Some people, some manufacturers gave them a bicycle. Within months, daily she was visiting while she was on foot 4 houses. She started visiting 6. Just imagine, 50% more output per day, and she earned more incentive. Such a huge this thing. So, what we are suggesting is that you have self-help groups.
Yes.
You talk to the microfinance companies, and somehow that link can take place. The availability would be there.
So somebody like Ratan Tata, for example, who wanted to make a people's car, or even before Ratan Tata, we had Sanjay Gandhi in the late 70s. Now, this whole idea of a people's car, how is it that that has captured the imagination of the people, but this lowly bicycle has not?
You know, I suggested that as you had people cars nano, we should produce a bicycle at 2,000 rupees.
Who did you suggest this to?
To the manufacturer. And you know, it's very odd. There are only 4 manufacturers.
In India?
In India, major manufacturers, and 100% of the bikes are made only in Ludhiana.
Okay. No, so what did you suggest to them? To make a low-cost cycle?
Yes, and they have made 2 months back. They are carrying out a pilot. Now they have produced a bicycle at 2,500 rupees.
Okay.
So it's something like Nano that you are talking about, my suggestion, and they realize that it...
So why would Ratan Tata not think of making a people's cycle instead of making a people's...
That you have to ask him because...
No, why do you think?
Because he had Tata Motors. He's not in the bicycle industry. You see, bicycle industry is not on the radar of urban people or even in the newspapers. How many times have you read about bicycle industry in the newspaper?
So there is this divide between...
India and Bharat. As I say...
And you belong to India for many years.
Yes, for cars I was working on India. For bicycles I am working for Bharat. And I think we have to succeed in that. But I must give you another this thing. State governments are buying bicycles and giving free in 15, 16 states. But they only give couple of lakhs per year. And they have different criteria, scheduled castes, below poverty line and all.
Yes.
Government of India could even supplement those funds and do it in a bigger way. So there are many ways of doing it. And this is not going to cost a lot of money, few thousand crores, and we are spending so many lakh crores in subsidies. And this will make, I personally feel the distress in rural area would have been less if in 20 years we had paid attention to the bicycle.
But in terms of comparison, if we have, say, millions of cars on the road, what about comparing that with the numbers of cycles that we have on the road?
I'll give you data. Last year we produced 3.5 million cars. We produced 24 million motorcycle scooters. We produced only 15 million bicycles.
Right.
China produces 100 million bicycles.
And India produces 15 million?
15 million.
Okay.
Out of 15, 5 million is purchased by state governments. So individual customers are only buying 10 million, which is 1/3 of motorcycles.
But what's the solution? If you import cycles from China, then...
No, they're not producing these standards. China has upgraded themselves and they are going in for fancy and performance bicycles. We produce what is called a basic bicycle, which is called Road Star or this thing. Only we produce it.
No, so are you saying that you should continue to produce these low-cost cycles?
Of course, for this area, yes. We should produce for low cars. We should produce also for urban areas. Now, we are also producing e-bicycles. And that we should be able to export. You know, bicycle is the only industry where you have these segments across. And you could deal with each one of them. And we have the capability of doing it. Only thing is, I think the industry also gave up that there is no future.
Why did they do that?
No one listened to them and they just went into their shell.
So what are you doing? What is Jagdish Khattar, the man who's sort of self-transformed from an auto wala to a car wala, to a cycle wala? What do you do with them?
First of all, I have persuaded some to produce a cheaper bicycle, which has come in last 3 months. Our report of working group for Niti would be available in the next couple of weeks.
Have you spoken to your fellow, to other industrialists?
Of course, they are a part of the committee.
Okay. No, not just to the cycle walas, but by your other friends.
You know, if you ask me, if the government were to say, sorry, that from their CSR account, which is 8-10,000 crores a year of all companies combined, 25% should be given for bicycles for 3 years, there will be a revolution. Instead of giving for schools, I mean, I'm not saying schools should not be given,
sure,
but it will have a much wider coverage. So let's see. I mean, we have just started the exercise.
And this is your recommendation to give?
It's a part of the report. अगर प्रधानमंत्री अपने मन की बात में कह देते हैं तो देखिए शुरू हो जाता है.
क्या कहना, आप क्या कहलवाना चाहेंगे प्रधानमंत्री से?
That you see, they are talking about Mudra scheme, all other schemes, 1 crore and all. I am saying only 4,000 rupees. That's the cost. Can we finance 4,000 because you have got that bank accounts? Can the government give an overdraft of 4,000? He can buy a bicycle and he'll keep repaying it. You know, bicycle is entrepreneurship. You have a bicycle and you lagao so that he can put 2 LPG cylinders in it. It becomes a mobile, he can earn from it. You lagao something else, you can sell newspapers. I have seen and I have got one made from the R&D. जिसमें आप लगाइए चाय के आप वो लगा सकते हैं, you can start selling tea. Can you believe it can become an entrepreneur?
So what would you like the Prime Minister to say in Mann Ki Baat?
I would say that please focus on this. You should ask all agencies to concentrate. Rural Ministry is supposed to do that. And the corporate sector should also come forward to put a small sum of money for bicycles.
So there we have it here. A direct message to Prime Minister Narendra Modi from Jagdish Khattar, the car wala who has now transformed himself to a cycle wala. Please help the bicycle industry to transform rural India.
You don't help bicycle industry. Please help rural people to enable them to buy a bicycle.
Mr. Khattar, thank you so much for speaking to The Print. Please continue to watch The Print on YouTube and subscribe to our channel. This is Jyoti Malhotra for The Print.